Hey gang, and welcome back. These videos are brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your unused collection fast and easily. 401 Games, Canada's top shop for all your hobby and TCG needs. Dragon Shield, the strongest sleeves for your strongest decks. Moxfield, the easiest way to store and share your deck lists. And Foil Armor, flatten your foils fast. Good news gang, Richard Kane Ferguson is launching his first ever Tokens Kickstarter with a collection of some never before seen amazing art. He's introducing a world building deep dive into the treasures of Zel and Ra, and it's a continuation of The Lost Book of Kings, his fully painted graphic novel. The tokens will also include some favorite pieces from the Richard Kane Ferguson art vault. There will be lots of magic and lots of classic magic art. So don't wait and be sure to secure your copies of these awesome tokens by backing the Kickstarter right now. Today's game has Corwin winning the die roll and starting us off. He draws and plays an Elfheim Palace. Charles plays a Swamp and pays 1 black for a Stitcher Supplier. He mills 3 as it comes in and passes. My turn has an unclaimed territory coming in, and I name Elemental, and I then tap it for a colorless for Soul Ring. Ben just draws and plays a tap Restless Cottage. Corwin's land drop is a tap Temple Garden, and with nothing else to do, he passes to Charles. Charles plays a Halimar Depths and rearranges his top 3. He passes after that. I draw and lose 2 for an untapped Stomping Ground, which allows me to put out Ashling on turn 2. I pass after my commander resolves. Ben just plays a Jungle Hollow and gains 1. Corwin plays a Plains, casts Cultivate, and goes to find a basic for the field and 1 for his hand. Charles has got a Command Tower for turn, and pays 3 for Coalition Relic. He then hits Corwin for 1 with his Stitcher Supplier and passes. I draw, play out a Plains, and pay 2 for a Flame Braider. I then hit Charles for 2 with Ashling and pass. Ben draws, and his land drop is a Viridescent Bog. And he then pays 3 for a Black Market Connections. Corwin's got a Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth, and he then casts his commander with Calix. He follows up once his commander resolves with a Venerated Rot Priest. Corwin then casts an Ethereal Armor on Calix, and the Rot Priest triggers, giving Ben a poison counter. Calix also triggers seeing an enchantment entering the battlefield and puts a +1/+1 counter onto itself. After that, he passes turn. During the end step, Charles puts a charge counter onto his relic. Charles draws, and in his main phase removes the counter from his relic to get a mana. He then casts his commander with the ever-changing Dane and passes. My turn has me playing a Godless Shrine untapped, taking 2 more, and I then cast a Parallel Lives. Once that's out, I evoke out Arisen Reef. I get an ETB trigger off the original, and then sacrifice it and make 2 copies from Ashling. I get 4 triggers from them, each seeing each other and each getting 1 from themselves. And I then go to combat. I swing both tokens at Ben, and going to my end step, I only have to sacrifice the original Reef token during my end step because the copy doesn't get the trigger. Ben draws and pays the full 6 life into Black Market Connections, making a treasure, drawing a card, and making a Shapeshifter. He then plays a Swamp for turn. He follows up by casting a Shopkeeper's Bane and passes to Corwin. Corwin draws, plays a Plains, and then casts Oblivion Ring. As it enters, he targets the Parallel Lives, which gets exiled. This also gives Calix another +1/+1 counter. He follows up by casting a Darksteel Mutation on Ashling, and Calix gains another counter. And then goes to combat. He swings Calix at Charles. Charles chumps with his Stitcher Supplier, and then sacrifices it to the Dane, and the Dane becomes a copy of it, and Charles mills 3. With nothing else, Corwin passes turn. Charles draws and plays an island. He then casts Mirage Mirror for turn, and passes. I draw, and cast Ephemerate on Ashling. And as it comes back, I hit a land off the Risen Reef trigger. I then follow up with a Champion of the Path, exiling Sunderflock from my hand to behold it, and then follow up by casting a Springleaf Parade, putting 2 into the X. They come in, and each trigger the Risen Reef, and then they each deal 2 to each of my opponents for a total of 4. I pass after that. Ben draws and pays another 6 into the connections, doing it all again. He plays a Rogue's Passage for turn, and then casts Blech. He then follows up with Fumulus the Infestation. Going to combat, Ben then swings the Shopkeeper's Bane at Corwin, and a Shapeshifter token at Charles. This has Ben gaining 3 life in 2 instances, and it allows him to put 2+1/+1 counters onto all of his creatures. Corwin and Charles then both take the hit, and Ben passes turn. Corwin draws and plays a Plains. He then casts Archon of the Wild Rose. Going to combat, he swings Calix at me, and I take the hit for 11 commander damage flying. Corwin gets to copy the Ethereal Armor since Calix connected, and he puts that copy on the Venerated Rot Priest. With the enchantment coming in, he puts a +1/+1 counter onto Calix as well. He then passes turn. Charles draws for turn, plays a Swamp as his land drop, and then casts Priest to the Fell Rites, and passes turn. On my upkeep I get to rebound Ephemerate, and I blink Ashling, which as it comes back in, deals 2 to each of my opponents, and I get to put a card to hand off the Risen Reef. I then draw for turn, and cast Birthing Pod. I then activate the Birthing Pod to sacrifice Ashling to it. Guess what? I get to make a copy of Ashling because all it cares about is that Ashling's been sacrificed. And the pod finds me a Twin Flame Travelers. I get 2 triggers each from the Risen Reef and the Champion of the Path seeing it come in, and Ben also gets to make an insect token from Fumulus seeing a creature being sacrificed. And once that's all done, I cast Mulldrifter. I then get to draw 4 cards, get 2 Risen Reef triggers, and 2 Champion triggers. And once those are all done, I cast a Rampant Growth. I then continue by casting 3 visits to find more lands, and then follow up with a Bloom Tender. I then move to my end step, and sacrifice my Ashling token as I pass to Ben. This has Ben gaining another insect token. Ben draws and makes a Changeling token and a treasure to his Black Market connections. He then swings Fumulus, the Shopkeeper's Bane, and 2 changes at me. Ben gets to drain me for 3, plus gains 2 life off the Shopkeeper's Bane, and that's 4 instances of life gain, so he puts 4 +1/+1 counters onto his team. I block a Changeling and Fumulus, but take the rest. In his post-combat main phase, Ben then casts Aclazotz and passes. Corwin draws and plays a Forest. He then pays a green for Hardened Scales. Since Calix triggers on ETB, he gets to put 2 counters onto the Rot Priest. He then follows up with Nylea's Forerunner, and puts 2 counters onto the Archon this time. Going to combat, Corwin swings Calix at Ben, and the Rot Priest at me. I can't block enough with Trample and get taken out, while Ben double blocks but still takes some damage from Trample. With Calix connecting, Corwin gets to make a copy of Oblivion Ring, which as it enters, exiles Fumulus. He also gets a Calix trigger to put 2 counters onto Nylea's Forerunner. After that, Corwin passes turn. Charles just draws, plays a Plains, and casts Platinum Angel, hoping it'll survive. Ben draws, and makes a treasure, and draws a card off Black Market connections, losing some life. He then plays a Swamp for turn. He follows up by casting Immutable Explorer, and once he makes a Mutavault token, animates the Restless Cottage and swings everything at Corwin, and he gets a food token from the cottage on attack trigger. Ben gains 2 off the Shopkeeper's Bane, and then sacrifices a food to gain 3 more, and that's 2 instances of life gain, putting 2 +1/+1 counters onto his team. Corwin knows he's done for, so he double blocks on Blech to kill it, but still gets taken out. With nothing else, Ben passes. Charles draws and plays Fractured Identity and exiles Fumulus. He then pays to copy the Platinum Angel with his Mirage Mirror, and going to combat, swings at Ben for 8 in the air. Ben takes the hit, and Charles then passes. Ben draws for turn, and makes a treasure token. He plays out a Vernal Fen, and then reclass Blech. He follows it up with Museo, and then a Starscape Calix. Going to combat, he swings a Shopkeeper's Bane at Charles. Ben gains 2 and pumps his team, and drains Charles for 1 with the Cleric. Charles just takes the hit and drops to 5. With nothing else, Ben has to pass. Charles' turn has him playing out an Adakar Wastes, and he copies the Platinum Angel again with his Mirage Mirror. He swings his flyers at Ben, and with only 1 flying blocker, Ben takes lethal in the air, and Charles wins the game. Game review time. I think this is one of my favorite games in the last little while, and not just because I was in it. It featured only in-universe commanders, each with a fun kind of sub-theme to them, with the Dane being kind of Reanimator Sacrifice, Blech being Life Gain, Ashling being an obvious Kindred deck, and Calix being Enchantress. They were also all very aggressive, and that was really cool to see. Unfortunately, Ashling with that Parallel Lives got a little bit out of control, and as a result I got focused down. And I love the fact that Charles was able to win off the back of Platinum Angel. That's such an old, fun card with such great effect, and the fact that he used it to beat Ben down is even better.